and welcome to episode 1 of the Stitched in Sweden video podcast. My name is Maria, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as M Montzka. It's Montzka. And I am coming to you today from Stockholm, Sweden. And I'm here to talk to you about some knitting. We'll talk about what I'm working on, some finished objects, and some things that I have coming up, as well as 2 books that I've been enjoying lately. So first off, I have been working on the Square and Stripes sweater, which is a pattern by Vera Välimäki. This is a boxy sweater. I believe in the original pattern it has 3/4 length sleeves. I am almost finished with mine. I have just the sleeves left and the ribbing at the bottom of the body, but I'm pretty sure that I have reached the length that I want it to be. So here it is. And this, obviously I didn't do any stripes. And I'm not sure how I'm going to like this collar. I might need to do a different bind off. This is already the second one that I've tried. But you can see it just has a little slip stitch detail on the front and on the sides and on the back as well. And I haven't put the sleeves on yet. But I am knitting this out of Madeline Tosh DK in the Tart colorway, and I have 5 skeins, and so far I have only used 2 because I did alternate skeins so that I wouldn't have any pooling or any notice of the difference between the skeins. So far I've used 2 for that main body, and then I have 2 this size that I have only used a little bit of, and then I have another one left. So I think that I'm going to have quite a bit of yarn left over to do something else with, so we will see what that is. I've also been working on a pair of simple garter rib socks. I've finished one of them. These are for my boyfriend. I haven't blocked it yet. He doesn't like very tall cuffs, so it's pretty easy to make socks for him, even if his feet are bigger than mine. But you can see just a little simple garter rib there and the cuff. I did a heel flap and gusset on these, and then I did a pretty square toe. We'll see how this fits him. Other ones that I've done in the past have had a pointier toe, but his toes are kind of squared. So he said that he might prefer to have a toe that is a little bit square for his sock. So we'll see. I tried this one on him before I had put the toe in, and it seemed to be fitting so far. So that's a good sign. I have knit the first one, obviously. Here it is. And then I started the second one, and I'm almost finished with the cuff ribbing on that one, and I'll start the garter rib soon. So I'm knitting these on Haya fixed circular needles, and I believe these are US size 0. And the yarn I'm using is Knit Picks Stroll Tweed in the Garnet Heather colorway. So I have another ball of that, which I will have to use for the second sock, but I started with the first ball still. And these are in a project bag that I made a little while ago. Another project that I have been working on is the Whippoorwill shawl, which is a shawl pattern by Karina Spencer. And this project is also in a project bag that I made. I made this out of a dish towel. This project has been a little bit stalled lately, I could say. I started this before I went back to the US over Christmas, and no, I started this when I was in the US for Christmas, but then I was working on a really big sweater jacket project for my sister that I was trying to finish before I returned to Stockholm so I wouldn't have to ship it to her. So this kind of got put on the side for a little while. And then when I came back to Sweden, I just started working on other things. But it's really pretty. I like how it's knitting up so far. It's really scrunched up on the needles, even though these are 40-inch long needles. I think I could do with the next length size up, which I guess might be 47, or maybe even I could go up more than that, but I don't have any that are that big. Anyway, I'm knitting the medium size, and this is out of 2 different yarns. I don't know what this brighter purple pink color is. I don't know what yarn that is. It's a yarn from an independent dyer that I purchased probably in 2011 at the Madrona Fiber Festival in Tacoma, Washington. And it was a small booth there. I don't have the tag anymore. I really love this yarn, and I really wanted it to be something perfect. So it has been knit and ripped out and knit. I think this might be the 4th time. But I really do want to finish this. I think I only have a couple of rows left in the border to do before I'll be done with this, and I just need to power through and get it off the needles. The main body is a really pretty light purplish gray that has some variegation in it. I can show you the little ball that's left. It's a bit more purple than it's showing up here. But this is a new yarn to me, and it is, oh gosh, what is her name? Spark Story Yarns, and it is the Luna Blue colorway in her 75-25 merino nylon sock base. It's a 4-ply. And I think that those 2 yarns might even be the same base, if not the same one. They're very similar, so they're working nice together, and I just need to get that finished. So, I guess moving right along to finished objects. My most recent finished object is the Marius sweater. I started knitting this sweater back in the end of October, and I had knit almost the entire sweater. It's knit from the bottom up. I'll show it to you. It is knit from the bottom up, and I had knit to here, and I had both of the sleeves knit. Whole body, I had just, this much left of the yoke, but I just had it in a project bag and I wouldn't finish it. And I'm pretty sure the reason why I didn't want to finish it was because I was pretty sure, I was actually 100% sure, that it was going to be too short. And I don't know why I have this problem, but sometimes when I'm knitting sweaters, I think that I'm shorter here than I actually am, and even though I have measured it and measure my project, I stop knitting too soon. So I didn't want to finish it, and I had actually almost decided that I was going to rip it out and use the yarn for something else. And then I decided, I wonder if I can cut the bottom off and then pick up the stitches somehow and knit down so that I can lengthen it. So I looked up a video on YouTube, and that's what I did. So it's hard to tell because it's in the black section, but just like right about here, I cut one stitch, unraveled down, which wasn't as far as this is now because it was too short. And then I just picked up all the stitches and knit about, I would say, 3 inches more. Did the ribbing, and then bound off, and I have a sweater that fits. So, this is a Marius sweater. It's a traditional Norwegian sweater. I knit it out of Rauma Finull garn, which is a yarn that I found at the Swedish Sewing and Knitting Festival here in Stockholm in October, I think it was, or it might have been September. It must have been September. And it's very unclear in the pattern what size yarn you should use, or what the weight of yarn is, and also there is a gauge measurement listed, but there's no schematic, so you have no way of knowing how much ease there's going to be in the sweater, or how long the sweater is going to be, really, for the yoke anyway, especially because you don't have a row gauge. I think it was only a stitch gauge. So I kind of winged it, and it was actually really lucky that it came out. I only swatched in the gray color. I did not swatch in color work, which was not a good idea, and I would not recommend doing that. I don't think I'll do that again, because I knit color work a bit tighter, and luckily it did relax quite a bit when blocking, but I pretty much winged this and just used the pattern for the chart for the yoke. I added this patterning on the bottom, as well as just a little bit on the sleeves, because I wanted to make it a little bit more balanced between throughout the sweater, so that it wasn't just all patterning on the shoulders, which I think might make my shoulders look a little bit wide. So overall, I'm pretty happy with that. I did an I-cord bind off for the neck, which is a little bit snug to pull over, but I like the finish that it gives, and I like the way it sits, so it's worth that initial tug over the head to get it on and have it look nice like that. So another finished object that I have are 2 pairs of mittens, and this is my own pattern, which I might be releasing soon, depending on the interest for it. But these mittens I am knitting for my shop, which is called Stitched in Sweden. And these are fully lined mittens. These are the birch mittens. You can see my little label there. And the cream colorway with a tweedy inside that I call bark. So fully lined, they're nice and warm. Those ones don't fit me, they're a small size, but these medium ones do. And these are the flying geese mittens. I have 2 of them. And these are also fully lined. So those will be up in my shop soon. As for upcoming projects, I have a couple things that I've been thinking about. I'm always thinking about lots of projects that I want to knit, but I've actually swatched for a new sweater, which will be the next one that I cast on after I finish the Square and Stripes sweater. This one is the Oshima pullover, which has a huge cowl neck in brioche stitch, which I've never done before. and it's a pattern by Jared Flood. And you hold a fingering weight doubled. So this is my swatch for the brioche stitch. It's a really nice heathered purple. It's 2 strands of Cascade 220 fingering held doubled, obviously 2 strands. Cascade 220 fingering held doubled in the Mystic Purple Heathers colorway. And here is my stockinette stitch swatch. So I got gauge after I went down quite a few needle sizes, which is pretty typical for me. I guess I am a loose knitter. But I will likely be starting that pretty soon. Another project that I have spinning around in my mind is some colorwork hats for my shop, which I will be designing a pattern for. And some of them will be just out of black and white, which I tend to knit in a lot of bright colors and vibrant colors, but I think there's something really beautiful and classic about, or something just beautiful and classic with having black and white, especially in a nice color work. I guess my sweater was black and white color work, so maybe, well, that was the first time that I had done that, so we will see. But just a couple other things that I am excited about this week. One thing is my interchangeable needle holder, which I sewed up while I was back in the US for Christmas. And I have a set, the small set, plus a few of the Haya Haya interchangeables, and they just sit in there. I haven't made any packaging for, or any case for the cords yet, so they just are still in the plastic bags that they came in, but I'm thinking about sewing up a little, probably just a little pouch with a button or a snap for those. So I use Haya Haya interchangeables. Those are my favorite needles, the Haya Haya Sharps. Before, I really loved the Xiaogu fixed circular needles, and I still do like those, especially I was using them on my Whippoorwill shawl, because the shawl was getting kind of heavy, so it was kind of nice to have that thicker red cord that those ones have. But the Haya Haya Sharps are really nice and lightweight, so I really like those ones. 2 other things that I got for Christmas that I would like to share, because I've been enjoying them. This is the Knitter's Notebook, and this is just a little knitting notebook that my mom gave me. I record all my projects on Ravelry, but this is just kind of fun because it has, I don't know, sometimes it's nice to write out notes, and I like to have a paper copy of some things. And there's also a lot of like graph paper charts and things like that where you can make notes in the back for designing. So I have been using that, and it's just fun to keep track, and I'm thinking about putting my swatches in there as well. And then finally, this I also got for Christmas from my grandparents. This is the Up Down All Around Stitch Dictionary, which is by Wendy Bernard. And I owned one stitch dictionary, which was more like a stitch pamphlet when I first started knitting. And I didn't find it very helpful because it was only written out, there weren't any charts. And I really do prefer to knit from charts because I think visually it just makes more sense to me, and I can read my knitting and read the chart, and it just works for me. So I really like that this book has so many beautiful stitch patterns, simple stitch patterns, more complicated ones too, lace, cables, everything. And everything is both written and charted, so it's just a really good resource to have. And I am excited to use it for some upcoming designs, and yeah. Alright, so I guess that's it for this week. So feel free to send me a message on Ravelry or friend me on Instagram, and look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Thanks!